Hey, Armia Abdo, thank you so much for being with me on the Purposeful Mindset podcast. Bro, I'm super excited to listen to your wisdom, to your words, and everything you're going to share because I know we just literally met and we're just having this conversation before offline. But I'm honestly like, I've been excited for the last few days since I knew I'm going to be chatting to you because I'm like, I stalked you. I checked out all your kind of background. I was like, this guy's doing some amazing things in the world, and I really want him to come and share his words of wisdom and his life lessons with my listeners. And so I've kind of changed up my podcast recently. So it's literally like sharing with my listeners the top 5 actionable life lessons that you've had. And I know for sure, looking at your kind of background, you've gone through a lot and you've been through a lot. And so I want to just jump straight in, man. I really want you to kind of just get straight into kind of sharing, like, what would you kind of say would be your top 5 actionable life lessons for everybody to take action on as soon as they listen to this episode?
Well, first off, thank you for having me. Sadiq. I really appreciate it. I've been very excited as well too. And I've been thinking a lot about those top 5 actionable life lessons. And there's so many to draw from. And I hope the beautiful thing is all of our experiences, even though they may be different, there's a lot of core concepts that follow all of us and can help guide all of us. And there's been a few that have really stood out, and that's actually what I wanted to share, because anybody who's trying to advance in their profession or do anything in life, it's really important to have some foundation to work off of. And one of the main lessons that I've learned from a young age was the whole concept of seek wise counsel.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times whenever we're creating, so me going through my career, owning a few businesses, this current startup, it's very difficult. It makes you feel very vulnerable,
Hmm.
because you're creating something that you're passionate about, and then now you want to share it, and you're almost afraid to share it because
Yeah.
afraid of judgment. But at the same time, if you are really precise with who you seek out to help you, you can really get the right information to help you continue to advance. But you really have to not be apprehensive about it. And it's scary. It makes you feel very vulnerable. So the best thing you can do, especially at any stage of the game, this is extremely relevant. Seek wise counsel. At the very beginning, it could be your spouse,
Yeah.
who just keep you motivated. They have different perspectives than you have. And, the beautiful thing is that when you're looking at whatever it is you're creating, you can only see it from one perspective.
Hmm.
And how we view something is really based on our past and experiences. So anybody you get to look at whatever it is you're working on will have their own point of view and will have their own input. But if they're negative people, if they aren't the right people to actually uh, critique what you're working on, then you have to be very cautious of that. And I think many of us, we don't really consider who we share these things with. We
Hmm.
just want to share it with everybody.
Yeah.
And that's great, but that's later once it's been polished. At the beginning, to actually package it properly, you really need to connect with the right people so they can help guide it. And we all have our gifts. We all have the gifts that we've naturally inclined to do. So whatever it is you're doing, make sure and share it with the right people at the right time, and they'll help you get it to the next level and the next stage. And then as it becomes more packaged and gifted properly, then you can share it with everybody. Then you can cast a wide net. And that's really where your influence takes off to the next level, is when you can connect with a lot of people.
Hmm.
And many of us were worried about, making money, for example, but
Yeah.
money is always to be made when you can cast a wide net and connect with a lot of people. It's based on volume,
Yep.
so but to get to that point, you have to have the right guidance,
Yeah.
and and to think that we can do these things alone is very foolish,
Hmm.
and it will make it very difficult on you. So I really encourage, seek wise counsel, connect with the right people, and they're more than willing to help, especially the more affluent and higher they are in the game, whatever it is you're doing. They tend to feel more intimidating to approach them. But you'd be surprised, the more successful people are, the more willing they are to share it without anything. And that's beautiful, so really don't be apprehensive to talk to these people that you may feel intimidated by initially, but they're not threatened, by most things because they're so successful. So they're not apprehensive to share. Those people want to share whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Um, Odds are they're not as successful as they should be. So get the right people, and it'll be amazing what kind of value you get.
I love what you're saying. I was just listening and I was just like kind of reflecting on even just my podcast. Because I've reached out to like some big guests, right? And I was just some big, really like influential, successful people. And when you were saying like sometimes people have that fear to reach out to these people because they think that they're not going to respond to them or reply to that email or reply to that DM. You're 100% right, bro. Those are the people that were like, of course, Sadiq, we love to come on your podcast. We'd love to come and share our story. We'd love to
Mhm.
come and add value to your listeners. And I'm just like, holy moly, like, wow. Like this
Yeah.
person, like, first of all, they replied to me. They're already excited because most of the time they don't respond because they're busy. And the second thing is like, they're so willing to be of service to just come and share their wisdom on a platform. Even they don't know you, they're just a stranger that reached out to them, but they're so giving. They're all servant leaders, as I like to call them, and they're just willing to give you. But I think, do you know why a lot of people actually have that fear in their mind to reach out? Like, what would you say? A lot of people have that fear to actually ask for help. So how do they overcome that barrier?
Well, that is so this ties into a story. So I'm fortunate because I've been able to treat so many people, and I get a lot of one-on-one time with them. So in essence, it's like I get one-on-one coaching with these powerful people that are my patients.
Yeah.
So one of them in particular, he's the kind of guy, I call him the most interesting man in the world.
Wow.
He's from Australia. He's amazing. He's the nicest guy. I ended up looking him up after I started working with him, and I see pictures of him shaking President Obama's hand and
Wow.
doing it. It's like, who is this guy? And he's just so willing to share everything. And what's interesting is he shared something with me. He's talking about the comfort zone, like this circle like this.
Mhm.
Right on the outer borders of the comfort zone is fear, and on the other side of that is growth. So and he described to me, he's like, I've spent 95% of my career in fear.
Wow.
So that means he's constantly trying to push the borders and grow and grow and grow. So it's really, to overcome this fear, you really have to love what you're doing more than yourself.
Mm.
If we become too self-centered and we're looking internally, we're battling all of our emotions. We're afraid. We feel vulnerable with sharing things that are super personal, because whenever you create something out of nothing, it's a piece of you. So
Yeah.
then you give it to the world, and then everybody talks smack on it, and it
Yeah.
makes you want to curl back in. But
Definitely.
then when you realize that these really successful people who are at the top of the mountain still feel that way, it kind of tells you that this emotion that we feel, it's universal. So it's simultaneously, it shouldn't be a barrier, because it'll be present all the time. So we don't try and get rid of it, we just try and manage it. And whenever you're going through these phases, trying to get to the next step, working with people, you have to realize that your goal should be stronger than your fear.
Mm.
If you let fear be the thing that really drives you, you won't do anything. And I understand it's a powerful emotion. And for me to say that, it sounds super easy, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've overcome it many times in my career. It will always be present. At the beginning, I had to overcome it. At the middle, right now, in the future, I know it'll always be present. So I have to discipline myself and not let it be the thing that drives me. Because if it drives my decision making, I will be in trouble. So the way you can work on that is maybe practice that concept with something easy. And for me, it's my physical body. So I'm very much into health and wellness. So I do a lot of yoga. I do a lot of things that are difficult, that keep me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So daily, I practice overcoming little obstacles.
Hmm.
So that way, when it comes to the big things like advancing my career, creating a startup, things like that, I am, I'm used to it. I'm conditioned a bit, and most of us, we don't condition ourselves to handle these things. So by the time it comes to push this weight, we're not conditioned for it. It's too heavy for us.
I love it.
So it's got to be a daily routine, and it can be tiny things. But a lot of these things are transferable. So it can be things you practice in your personal life that end up transferring over to your professional life.
Mhm.
And this whole concept of work-life balance, like having it separate, it's like, I don't really think of it that way. It's your life.
Mhm.
I'm practicing my life. My life has work, has personal stuff. So this balance is not really, I don't know, it doesn't really make sense to me.
I
So
feel
it's
like it was
really,
just man-made, like people have just made this word up, balanced lifestyle. Like you
yeah,
said, balance is not, there's no such thing as balance. It's just we're just going and we're just living life. And
it's
life
life.
is our
Yes.
life.
Yeah,
Life is just life. Like we just go. Some people like to say go with the flow. Some people say take every day as it comes. Like Mahatma Gandhi said, live every day like it's your last, but plan like you're gonna live 100 years, right? And it's
yeah,
just like it's so powerful because those lessons are the ones that we keep dear to our heart because those are the ones that really matter. It's not, there's just too much noise and just too much kind of negativity in the world. So I feel
yeah.
like when we just get back to center and just find a bit of peace, a bit of gratitude, and just really understand that we are where we need to be right now, that is the most, that's life. That's our balance.
Yes, yes, exactly. And it's a beautiful thing because when you focus on things like that, you find this peace. And
100.
there's a lot of clarity and peace. So if your mind is scattered, you're all over the place, it's really difficult to uh, put your thoughts together, because you really have to be sharp to advance your life in many ways, and you have to be diligent, and it can be very difficult, so you have to find places, little pockets of peacefulness that can help motivate you and recharge you so you can keep going. And that's different for all of us. It depends on who you are. Right now it kind of depends on where you live even.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of
definitely.
variables that are outside of us, but the peace is inside of us, so we still have to focus on that and find it, and it's worth finding, definitely worth finding.
I agree, man. I agree. Honestly, I think it is the one thing that when we truly find that inner peace, like everything in our whole life, physically, spiritually, in every aspect of our life, everything changes when we just find our way, our unique way to find that inner peace. Because for some people it's meditation, for some people it's praying, for some people it's go for a walk in the park, for some people it's literally working out, right? And it's like
Yeah.
everybody has their way of doing it. So I totally resonate when you said that because like we're all unique and we find our own ways to deal with things in life and to find that inner peace.
Yes, and that actually ties into one of the other lessons that I learned because a few years ago, um, I my brother passed away
Oh, so
suddenly. He has two daughters, and then 3 months later, my mom passed away.
oh
And
wow.
then that's at the same time I left the private practice I was one of the owners in. So it was a very difficult time in my life, and I was trying to find that peace you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it was so difficult for me to grasp. But think of all the things that you just mentioned. They're all physical things.
Hmm.
So one of the things that ended up helping me is I couldn't get my mind right. Wasn't sleeping well, anxiety,
Of
all these
course,
things.
it's normal. Yeah.
Knowing what I know about the physical body, I realized that, one of the ways to hack your mind is through the physical body. It's something tangible and that's here. I can feel it. I can see immediate results when I do things, but my mind is so abstract. It can time travel. It's in the future, it's in the past, it's anxious, it's depressed, all these things. It's hard to get a grasp on it. So I realized that if I condition my physical body, I can have the resources to start to tame my mind. So and that was one of the best lessons that I learned, is that you have to be physically fit.
Yeah.
It's one of these things that we all kind of know, but we don't really make it something. It's not powerful enough in a lot of our lives. If
Hmm.
you are physically fit, you will have all the clarity, and a lot of evidence has even proved this, that your posture and your position, like if you have good posture, strong frame, you release different hormones than you would if you have the slouch posture.
Yep.
And these hormones really help you thrive. And then you also sleep better. And it's been shown that the more physically fit you are, the more you'll maintain a higher IQ as you age. So if you are doing all this work to get your mind prepped for your life, but you don't really work on your physical body, you're missing one of the most valuable things that will help you take your life to the next level. So you have to you have to get in shape, and
Hey, man.
doesn't mean you have to be a power lifter doing this. Your body just has to be free. It has to move well, has to have good posture. It just has to carry itself well, and if you have that, then it'll be a lot easier to tame your mind. So I encourage people who are struggling out there mentally and anxious and spread thin with everything they're doing, is take the time to get yourself in shape. It would be the best investment you can make.
I totally agree with you, bro. And I know what, and actually through my content, every Monday I actually share like my fitness journey with everybody, and just like my kind of progression and my fitness journey with everybody. Because I just share a lot around personal growth, mindset, confidence, taking action. Those are types of those are the types of what do you call it, like kind of life lessons and types of content that I put out on social media. And one of them that I had to put in there when I started a couple of months ago this year was my fitness. Because I was like, for me, when your body and your mind are together, everything else falls into place, just like magic.
Mm,
And so I always encourage them. Every Monday I post my video, not for them to not to show off, not to show people look what I can do, not to like kind of boast about, oh, look at my videos. Because yes, they're like really cool, yes, they're super fun, yes, they're like I'm super crazy because I do like basically calisthenics and bodyweight training and animal flow and
mm,
all of these crazy stuff. And you know how you said to find your way of like find some kind of movement in physical activity. For me, it was when I started doing calisthenics and bodyweight training and animal flow, because I was like, if I can hold my own body weight with no weights, and I can just train my body to be pretty strong enough to hold its own body weight and be flexible at the same time and mobilize myself, that was the best investment I made in my life, man. In the last 4 years, I've been just practicing that, and I share that with them every Monday, and I leave them a little kind of in the caption, a little bit of my journey in there, and I show them, and they can always go back to the beginning and see, look at the progression. Because for me, when I started changing my physical body, everything in my life started changing, and that's why I was like, I need to share this with everyone to make sure they know that yes, I'm a coach, yes, I still work even full time, and at the same time, I still look after my physical body. And so
yeah,
they can't have the excuse of I don't have time.
the mind body connection is very powerful, and when it's detached from itself, that is what I call like a fractured soul. Your soul is broken,
Love it.
and your soul really is something powerful, and it really comes to light when the mind and body are connected. And
Love it.
if you don't have those things in place, it's very difficult to even function,
Mm,
let alone accomplish anything,
yeah.
just survive. And for me specifically, that actually was a very powerful lesson. And it's something that is crucial, and my own personal journey has been has shed a lot of light. And that's actually one of the next lessons, is that experience matters. And I'll give you
Just
a
posted about
quick
that today, bro. I
yeah.
just made a video about that today. I was like, experience matters more than any type of other kind of learning that they're doing right now. Because just to kind of add into what you're saying, like the reason why I shared that today, because there's so many people in my life recently that have been reading all the personal growth books, the motivational books, the spirituality books. I'm like, yeah, amazing. Like I'm so all about personal growth because that's what changed my life. But have you implemented or taken action on anything that you learned from this book? No. You're still reading another book without even taking action on the last book. So why are you wasting your life reading? Go and do something about what you learn. And in that experience, you're going to read another book. You're going to find another book. You're going to learn more from actually
Yeah.
doing. And so experience,
what,
man, you're right. It's so
what is
powerful.
it? My wife always says, like, having means nothing if you don't use it. It's one of these things we all hear, and it makes
Wise
sense.
woman.
You really have to like feel it. And this is actually how I got into physical therapy in the first place. Is that very young in my life, I was very overweight, almost like 290 pounds in high school.
Wow.
And then 18, boom, something clicked, lost 100 pounds, like in a couple months. And ever since then, I've been on this journey to like find my health. And I've suffered a lot of injuries, like I've had um, sciatica, disc problems, low back, neck, all these things that put me into the path of physical therapy. And then once I got into that career, I started educating myself to the 10th degree, right? Learned everything you can learn, right? But one of the things I realized is that even though I was calling on my education to help a lot of people, what really was the most valuable was my experience. So the way I look at it is that every patient, real quick, every patient I've had a piece of their injury,
Yeah.
and which has helped them tremendously. And so the way I looked at it was like, okay, if you get all these healthcare providers, all these people want to help you, they have educated themselves with academically. So to me, that's like a bird's eye view. They are seeing this road, your journey from point A to point B of your own health. I need to get Sadiq, I need to get him from here to here. Now I have a bird's eye view, so I can navigate him to get there and I can help him get there. But until you actually walk on that road, there's so many pitfalls that you will not see from that bird's eye view. The only way to see it is to walk that road. And I've walked all these roads that have given me such powerful insight to helping people. So, and that's one of the beautiful things that's really connected me with people, is that we all may live different lives. Some of us will have money, some of us will not. We'll all live in different conditions, but the one bonding thing we all have is suffering. That's the one thing that bonds all of us. So um, if you really understand somebody's suffering, you won't hate anybody. You'll love everybody. So, and that's really been powerful for me to help people. And I mean, I've been overweight. I've had surgery before. I've hurt my neck, my shoulder, my ankle, my this, my that, everything, all these things so whenever I work with somebody, this experience that I've gone through has become powerful for them. And so I spent my career in the last few years figuring out how to fix myself. And you can't do that in the boundaries of healthcare. They really make it difficult to fix a problem. They just allow you to get somebody to the next phase. And so that was one of the things that was really making my soul uneasy, and that made me leave and start the company I'm in charge of now, which is Doc Physio. I decided that, what, let's skip all the BS, all the expenses, the confusion of healthcare, and let me go right to the people and help them. So I have created this platform that allows me to do that, because I realize how many people are suffering, and a lot of them can't get the help they need in traditional healthcare because there's too many rules and boundaries. And if you really understand somebody's suffering, you understand that to get them from point A to point B where they need to be, it's much more than what we're offering in our healthcare. And so that's what I really want to do for people. I want to help them beyond that. And I want to give them the resources. I want to make it easy for them, because I've done it for myself, and learning how to do it for myself, it opened my eyes to the fact that it can't be necessarily done in this setting. So we have to change our setting, change the way we do things. And that's really what I'm hoping to accomplish, and what I've been accomplishing in the last few years. And it's been beautiful, and kind of doing it on my terms, which is great. That freedom is very powerful for all of us.
Definitely. And the reason why, or the one thing I can feel from you right now, even just through the screen, is like your pure passion and your pure, like it's genuinely your purpose, right? Like you knew that this is the thing that that you need to do for the rest of your life, because you know about the suffering of others. There's so many people in the world that need your specific help to fix these problems, because I'm pretty sure you get patients all the time when people come to you and your clients, and they come to you with a specific thing. You're like, oh, even if it's a little thing, you're like, oh yeah, I had that. This is what you got to do, because of your experience, right?
I feel what you have, and because I feel it, I can treat it. I also have the academic insight for it, which is valuable. It's not like you can just purely do it off the feeling. But I just encourage others who are in healthcare that like really feel the experience of what people go through.
Mm.
I even spent like a year and a half where I couldn't really sleep well because I was so anxious.
Wow.
So people who tell you
Wow.
I'm not sleeping well, like when I hear that, it's like, man, that is hard. Most people would hear it and then they just put it on the notes.
Mm.
Okay, not
Yeah.
sleeping well. It's
Every
no.
doctor that
It
I go,
means
every
way
doctor I've
more
been
than
to in my
just you
life, you tell
writing it
them
on
what's
that
wrong with you.
paper.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Here you go, take
that's their life. Like
antibiotics.
that's their life source, sleeping. So if you take that away, I mean, nothing else matters. So you have to understand the how bodies function, and that's really by listening to my patients and not being constrained by the rules, because I have a private practice, and I really can help people without feeling pressured to do things a certain way. And the
Powerful.
autonomy is amazing, and the freedom, and it's really fun. And the way I worked before was inside of that world, and I think that's why I became so anxious, and I think my soul was so uneasy. The
Mm.
fact that I left a very affluent position, in career, to be on my own. It's like the top of the mountain and then falling.
To zero.
But I couldn't stay there because I was going crazy. I had no peace there. And I think it's because what you're saying, my passion really couldn't be lived properly in that setting.
Definitely. Yeah, I know that feeling, man. Like when you really just when you love this other thing, it's like me just right now. Like I'm still working. I still work I'm a trade analyst. I still work at Morgan Stanley, and so while I'm working, I'm doing all this other content online. I've been kind of building my social media for the past 6 years, building my brand online, sharing inspirational messages, quotes, and my own life lessons with everybody, and my personal growth journey. And then obviously I started the podcast. I started sharing my fitness journey, and then I obviously I did an online business for 5 years, 4.5, 5 years. Learned a lot through that, and that's what really made me resilient. That's what made me, love rejection. That's what made me love failure. That's what made me really overcome that whole mindset of like, do I care about what people think about me anymore? I don't really care. Sadiq, you are amazing the way you are. You know you're kind. You know you're doing good things. You know you want to help people. You know you have this passion to give without expecting anything in return. So then when I started to kind of go into my speaking career in the last 2 years, and then COVID hit now recently, and then this whole situation when we were in quarantine really made me introspect on my life and think, what I love speaking, and that's still going to be my purpose. But what can I do to actually earn an income and start my own business online that can still make money, that can leave my job one day and just do this full time? And so
Hmm.
that's when I realized I love coaching. Like I love helping people, and I've been coaching them really, but for free. I've never got paid for it. Didn't really know there's like a proper coaching kind of industry that exists, and I didn't know how much money you can make from it. And when I started looking into it in the last 3 months, and I was like, wow, this can actually change my life, because the income that I can make from helping people doing something that I actually love, that I've experienced for the last 6 years, and helping people overcome the shyness that I used to have over 6 years ago, become
Yeah.
more confident, take more action. Like, honestly, man, I just thought, I don't care about people's opinions no more. I just want to help people. And if I can get paid to do that somehow, that's what I want to do. And I
Yeah,
started
that's
my coaching
a
business.
lot.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead,
just
dude.
started my coaching business like literally just over a month ago, I've been working with 2 clients and just kind of just figuring stuff out. And I tell people now, especially now, I'm just continuously reminding my listeners and everyone else, the guys, like, you don't have to have your life figured out. It doesn't matter what age you are. You can continue doing what you're doing, but find some kind of a purpose that's driving you. And for me, it was coaching and speaking. And now you just figure it out and you take it one day at a time, one step at a time, and you just kind of don't overthink it. Like, I just tell them to keep things simple, because I think one of my biggest life lessons is just to keep everything simple.
Hmm.
It just makes
Yeah,
life easy, man.
yeah, enjoyable. And here's another lesson that I think is really powerful too, is that the value we have, like when I do these things, it's just my gift. I'm gonna do it no matter what. You know what I mean? So if
Yeah,
people, and so what I'm offering, that to me is my value, not what people will pay for it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of us, we get so concerned, if people don't pay us, we're not valuable. Like, here's an example. My wife, she's a Bikram yoga teacher. Okay. She has changed people's lives with this practice. She gets paid $50 a class. She makes like no money. So if she were to base her value on the amount of money she made, she'd be worthless in a way.
Yeah.
I'd hate to say that, you know what I mean? But that's the way
Yeah.
a lot of us feel about ourselves. But if you look at what she has given people, she is invaluable. Like
Yep.
what she's life changing. So it's really important for us. It's not like we don't want to make money to survive and thrive and all that, but at the same time we have to realize that our value comes from what we offer, not what we get in return.
Definitely.
And if we base it on what we get in return, it's demoralizing. We'll stop. But if your passion is so strong that whether or not you take it, it's okay. My job is to give it. Whether or not you take it, it's purely up to you. If you
Definitely.
want to judge it, you do whatever you want to do with it. It's free world. But my choice is to offer it, and do what you will with it. And if you focus on that, then you'll see that what you're giving is no longer tainted by the world. It's pure, and when it's pure and authentic, people will love it, and they'll get the message, and they'll want more of it, and they'll support you. And there's some amazing people out there who will continue to support you. And actually, I have one more lesson that's even tied to this, one that I've discovered recently. Okay, so with our startup, where we brought a consultant on. Okay, so we give him a little bit of equity, and then he is sharing his wisdom, resources, connections, and so on. So while we're leading up to this, we start talking about some of the deals he's made. So check this out, Siddiq. He's talking about a group that he worked with that he helped broker. It's close to $1 billion deal, and then another guy he's working with $100 million.
Wow.
Right? So all of us, we get so concerned about competition. We're like, I have to compete with all these guys. But what we need to realize is that the world is so much bigger than we think.
Hmm.
So much bigger. Like I just mentioned, $1 billion deal. I never even heard of it. So these guys are doing $1 billion way over there outside of my even scope of vision.
Hmm.
So it just tells us that we think we have to compete with all these people. No, there's enough for everybody to eat.
Yeah.
And we don't have to compete. And if anything, we should be collaborating. The more we collaborate, that's really what enhances messages. And so for me, everybody's so concerned, don't share this, be careful of that. It's like, no, no, no. I'm going to connect with everybody I can because I want to collaborate. There are brilliant people out there doing amazing things, and they're doing really well for themselves. And the fact is that I never heard of them means that, like, okay, we're not we all can go down the same path. We're not going to bump into each other and knock each other off the road.
Yeah.
The road is big enough for everybody. So
Exactly.
I just want people to realize that, like, when you're trying to do something, don't be worried about what other people are doing. There's enough space for all of us. This world is so much bigger, and there's so much more money that is being spent than we even realize. So don't get caught up about, like, oh my God, I need to capture this part of the market, or I need to compete with these guys. It's like, no, not really. You know what I mean? You just have to be authentic and keep working on your message, and you'll get there, and collaborate with the right people, and be willing to be flexible, and don't fall in love with necessarily like what you're doing exactly, or in regards to like what your product is, because if you get too caught up in it, you forget what you're trying to do.
Hmm.
So make sure that you just really share your message properly, and let it almost have its own life and help navigate it. Because as I've created this startup, Doc Physio, what I originally thought it was going to be and what it is today, so different. But I didn't put a chokehold on it and try to conform it to make it what it is. It almost is creating a life of its own. So I have to go with the flow, and it's almost like a patient, that is advancing.
Yeah.
And if I go in there thinking I'm going to do what I want to do, then I will not give it what it needs to
Hmm.
keep growing. So we have to keep watering it and keep growing it. Don't get so stuck on it has to be this way. Like, we shouldn't be confined. We should be very fluid with the way we do things and the way we think, and we won't get stuck. I think when we become too rigid, we get stuck. We get stuck emotionally, physically, and that's what's beautiful, going back to the body work. A lot of whatever happens to us is imprinted on our body.
Yeah,
So if our life is rigid and tight, our physical body becomes rigid and tight.
definitely. Yeah.
So you have to really like loosen up and be free,
Mm.
and things will come.
That's what flexibility, mobility, yoga, and everything teaches, right? Just become more flexible and do that with your life too. Have more
Yeah.
flexibility and comfort in your life. And like you
Freedom of
said, man,
movement,
just
powerful.
be authentic and vulnerable and genuine. Everything you were saying just really hit because it's true, man. Just basically be yourself. Like that is
Yeah,
the main message. Is like just be
be
yourself and don't
yourself.
worry about anybody's opinion out there. Don't worry about all the people saying that you're not gonna make it or you're playing small or whatever they say. You just stay in your lane and just focus on what you're doing. And I think that's what makes us stay focused on our vision, on our dreams, and our goals. Because we, at the end of the day, if you just be yourself and you put in the action steps every day, even if it's like you said, bro, even if it's like the little one kind of action step every single day, that's gonna lead you to the long term, anyways. So,
Yeah,
love
and
what
that's actually what it should be. That's what it should be. Like a lot of us think we want to do these grand things, but you know how much energy and strength it takes to do these big things. You can't just come out of nowhere and do it.
no,
You on a daily, you have to practice things, and it can be something very simple. So if you're somebody who lacks discipline to do this big thing, well, find low-hanging fruit daily that you can be disciplined in. And for me, a lot of those characteristics that help me advance professionally were learned through the physical body on a daily, right? It's like, okay, those times where I don't want to go exercise. Those
exactly.
times where my mind needs to wander, no, focus it on what you're doing. And it's amazing how you can, if you practice conditioning your body, there's so many life lessons in it that will carry over. And that's what's powerful about yoga. In the Bikram yoga that we do, it's 90 minutes focusing, looking in the mirror. And I didn't really realize this till a few of my patients were saying that, oh, I hate looking in the mirror. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my God, you can't even look at yourself? Like, I didn't know that existed. So just think about what they're going to do professionally if they don't even want to look at themselves.
Mm,
It's like, no. If you're shy, practice looking at yourself, because one day you're going to be on a stage that you want to be on with 1,000 people looking at you.
exactly.
So if you want to be okay and your message requires you to be on that stage, then you better start doing the legwork now. And it's little things like that that give you the strength to do the next thing and the next thing. So I think a lot of us, especially with movies and the way our life is, we think of everything as this big grandiose thing, right? It's like, no, it's daily things that get you to the big things, that we really have to focus on. So find the little parts of your life that you can really improve on, and try to use your physical body to get there first, because it's a lot easier to
Mm,
understand rather than
yeah.
trying to corral your mind and tame your mind, because it's too abstract. It's like a wild horse. It's hard
Yeah.
to tame. The body's much easier, and it follows rules of this world that have to be like, it has to do what it has to follow the rules. So if you condition it, it will get stronger.
Mm,
The mind has no rules, so it's a
yeah.
it's a lot harder to
It just goes
work.
everywhere like spaghetti.
Yeah. It really does. So I start with the body, then the mind is much easier to work on.
I love that. And since you talked about stage, right? So I have a question for you that I want to end the episode on. And this
Of course.
question is something that I do ask most of my guests recently. And because you were talking about stages, if you were on this stage, okay, imagine yourself on this stage where there's more than 90,000 people, their eyes are on you, and you've got one message to give them, and you've got one sentence to give this message to them in. What would that one kind of lesson, thought, message, piece of wisdom, what would that one sentence you would be that you share with all these 90,000 people watching you right now?
Mm. That's a tough one,
It's a
because there's
deep
so much
question, right?
I'd want to share. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, what is this base emotion that everything else is comes from? And to me, it really comes from the concept of peace,
Mm,
because a lot of the gifts I found in my life came from when I really found peace in my life, and that came from that mind body connection that we mentioned earlier. So anything we want to do in life, we have to build off a strong foundation. And that foundation is peace within ourselves. If we don't have peace within ourselves, any fruit that we bear will be tainted. and it'll create a lot of difficulties for us, so find peace, and whatever that means for you, and when you find that, you'll see that, your soul it will thrive, and it's very powerful, and it's very abstract concept, and it's not very tangible for people to feel, but that's kind of the point. It's something that is so, just up to you, and you're the most important person in the world, so find that peace, and then everything that comes out of you will be good.
Amazing, man. I love it. Getting
Yeah.
deep. I told you the ending is always deep, man. Like you're going all heart, no mind, just all heart. I love it,
Oh
bro.
yeah, that's the basis for everything, man. The mind is supported by all of that, by the heart. So no heart, doesn't matter what the mind produces. It will come with consequences,
Yeah.
you know, that you don't want. So find your peace, and you'll find all the other answers in there.
Love that, man. Beautiful. That's the most beautiful way to end the episode as well. But bro, if you want, is there anything that you would love to share with the listeners that can come? I don't know, get some guidance from you, some help. They can come and reach out to you somehow. They want to ask you questions. What's the best place to reach you? Obviously, I will be putting all your links and everything down
Okay.
in the description in YouTube and on the podcast, so everybody can go check Dr. Armia out. But is there any kind of like last thoughts you want to share with everyone, or anything they can come and reach out to you for?
Yeah, it's a lot of us, we have our own personal journeys, but there's so many parallels with our struggles. Our struggles are the characteristics of our struggles. The feelings are the same, even though the details of the experience are different. So that actually is what I ended up journaling a lot during the difficult times of my life. And by default, it became a book. It was too much to be notes, so it became a book. And rather than selling this book and trying to market it, I just put it for free on our website. So if you go to
Amazing.
docphysio.com, or actually you can go, I created a special promo for all your listeners. So it can be, you can go to promo.docphysio. Now, docphysio is going to be with a Z, not an S,
Yeah.
.com. If you go there, you will see a pop-up that shows up. If you put in your email and you register, you'll get a free copy of my ebook and audiobook. And this details and it chronicles my journey of my own health and wellness and how I got to this point, and a lot of the life lessons that I learned working with patients in all various degrees, and even overcoming obstacles myself. So that book, I mean, it was very special for me to write. So if you want to know more about my journey and hopefully get some wisdom that may help your journey, I'd encourage you to go to promo.docphysio.com, get the free ebook and audiobook, listen to it however you want or read it. And if you want more, check out the website. You can always contact me through our Instagram page as well at docphysio, with a Z again. And we'll put all the links up
I'll
so
put
everybody.
everything. Don't worry. Yeah, I'll put everything. So, guys, like, if you're still listening, honestly, like, you gotta go connect with Dr. Amir. Like, you've heard his wisdom. I think that's enough of you. Like, you've heard enough of how amazing his wisdom is and his journey for you guys to at least go and pick up his book. I'm a visual and a listener, bro. So I'll be listening to your audio book.
Yeah, I hope you
But
enjoy it.
for all the readers out there that love reading, as I was sharing earlier, make sure you guys read his book and then pick it up, read it, listen to it. But but more importantly, make sure you take action on what he shares in there, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be so much actionable life lessons and wisdom in there. But bro, honestly, man, I'm so grateful for connecting with you, and I'm looking forward to stay connected, and as you said, collaborate more and do a lot more things with you. And if I can ever be of service to you and help you in some way, please let me know, because I would love to be there as part of your journey as well. But I'm super grateful for everything that you shared. Um, any last sentences to share with everyone?
I just want to say thank you to you. Like you're doing some special things, and I really can empathize with your journey, and what you're doing, and it's difficult, and it can be, behind once the laptop closes and you go about your day, like a lot of these emotions will come back, so just keep working on and keep doing what you're doing, because it's inspirational for me, because I'm doing it on my end in my way. I see you doing it. I see other people doing it. Anybody who's listening to this, if they're trying to do it themselves, just know that we're all in it together. you know, and we're all trying to help and collaborate. So just share and connect. That would be the main thing I can say. Share and connect, and you'll see that everybody you connect with just gives you these little pearls, you know, and of wisdom that just keep you going, you know. And I can recall people I met a year ago that said that one thing that it keeps me going, you know. And then so you
Yeah.
get little bits and pieces from everybody, and then we can all feel whole, you know. So I want to give bits and pieces to people to keep them going, because like you, they have some special gifts to offer, and I want to benefit. I want your gift.
Yeah.
But for me to get your gift, perhaps I have to give you my gift to keep you motivated, and then it becomes full circle, and then we share, and it becomes beautiful like that. So I'd love to connect again with all your listeners, with you anytime. I'd be happy to.
Amazing, man. Share and connect. I'm gonna finish it on that. Share and connect.
Share
Beautiful
and connect.
message, bro. Honestly, thank you so much for all the life lessons that you shared, and I'm looking forward to staying in touch. But until then, until the next kind of session or Instagram live or something that we do, thank you for your love, man. Thank you for all the wisdom, your lessons, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You too. Have a great day.
Thanks,
Talk
man.
soon.
Take
All
care.
right. You too.